the quiet darkness of deep space, a small human research ship floated near the edge of a strange and dangerous region called the Weeping Vale. The ship's name was Hawking's Pride. It was built for science, not war. On board, a crew of explorers, scientists and xenolinguists worked day and night to study the unknown. The Weeping Vale was feared across the galaxy. No other species dared to go near it. Ships disappeared inside it. Time and space acted strange. Some called it cursed. Others called it haunted. Humans, however, saw something else, a mystery worth solving. One evening, as the crew ran regular scans, a soft beep echoed in the control room. A young xenolinguist named Dr. Layla Nadir leaned closer to her screen. Her eyes widened. "Captain," she said, her voice tense but calm, "I think we just picked up an intelligent signal." The captain, a calm older man named Silas Ward, stood up slowly. "From where?" Layla pointed at the map. The signal was coming from deep inside the Weeping Vale. Everyone in the room paused. The signal wasn't in any known language. It used mathematics, prime numbers, golden ratios, and harmonic pulses. It repeated every 108 minutes. It sounded almost like a voice whispering through a broken machine. They sent it to Earth. Earth sent back 2 words: investigate immediately. But the scientists on Hawking's Pride were not soldiers. They could not enter the Vale and survive. They needed help. Earth's answer: not just any ship back on Earth. The United Terran Fleet Command debated what to do. Other species might ignore such a signal. The Kalathi would call it a trap. The Murin would mark it forbidden. But humans were different. Humans came from a death world. Their planet, Earth, was full of fire, storms, diseases, wild beasts, and constant danger. To survive, humans had become strong, clever, and above all, adaptable. Other races feared them. Even their allies didn't fully trust them. So when the signal was confirmed as a distress call, likely from a lost alien race, Earth did not hesitate. They chose a ship, a dangerous one. Its name was Blackthorn. The ship, called Blackthorn, was no ordinary vessel. It was once a stealth dreadnought, used in Black Ops missions during the Orion conflict. It could survive in hostile space, warp reality, and carry weapons banned in 3 sectors. Officially, it was decommissioned. In truth, it had been hidden, waiting for something just like this. The Blackthorn had a dark, spiny hull like thorns of a rose, sharp and cold. Its AI was old but powerful. Some even said it was too human. The crew were hand-picked, misfits, survivors, people who had seen too much and lived to talk about it. The mission: enter the Weeping Vale, find the source of the SOS, and bring back answers. Meeting the crew captain. Alex Draven was chosen to lead the Blackthorn. She was not famous, but people who knew her respected her and feared her. She had once ended a war by crashing her ship into an enemy flagship and surviving. Her second-in-command, Lieutenant Darius Coe, was a former hacker-turned-naval officer. He could break into anything with a signal. Sergeant Bear Okoye, a massive exosuit operator, handled combat and heavy lifting. And finally, there was Dr. Mira Sonda, a quiet biologist with a strange talent. She could sense danger before it happened. As the crew walked aboard the Blackthorn, none of them spoke much. They knew the stories. They knew the risks. "Welcome." "Aboard," said the ship's AI in a calm female voice. "Let's see what made the stars scream." Into the Weeping Vale. As the Blackthorn approached the edge of the Weeping Vale, the crew felt the change. Lights dimmed. Sensors began glitching. Time stretched. For a few seconds, they all felt like they were dreaming while awake. Strange symbols flashed on their screens. Symbols not sent by any system. "We're not even inside yet," whispered Dr. Mira. The ship's AI adjusted the shields. The engines shifted to a lower frequency. Human ships were designed to handle radiation, gravity storms, and black hole edges. The Blackthorn was ready. Then, they crossed the line. The stars outside twisted. The sky bled colors that had no names. A soft hum entered their ears, not through sound but through thought. Then, for just a moment, every crew member had the same vision. A broken alien ship, a crystal tower floating in darkness. And one word burned into their minds: Kethery. The silence before the storm back in normal space. No one heard from the Blackthorn again. Signals vanished as soon as they entered the Veil. But on Earth, a message appeared on a private military channel. No sender, no ID, just one line of text. The signal is real. We are not alone. Send no one else. The Blackthorn was on its own. But humans had always been strongest when alone. The stars around the Blackthorn twisted like oil in water. As it moved deeper into the weeping veil, reality bent. The ship groaned, not from damage, but as if it could feel something watching. Inside the bridge, Captain Alex Draven stood tall. Her eyes scanned the shifting colors on the view screen. Most people would panic in a place like this. She didn't. She was used to fear. She had lived through worse. "Report," she said. Lieutenant Darius Coe tapped fast on his console. "Gravity's acting strange. Up is down, time is slowing, then speeding again. But we're still on course." Dr. Mira Sand, the ship's biologist and threat analyst, looked pale. "There's psychic interference," she said slowly. "It's weak, but it's everywhere, like a whisper inside your skull." Captain Draven nodded once. "Noted, stay sharp." Behind them, Sergeant Bear Okoye checked his weapons. His heavy frame filled half the armory. He loaded his smart rifle. With calm hands, "You feel it too, Captain?" he asked. "Yes," Draven said. "Something doesn't want us here." The ghost in the ship A's, the Blackthorn moved through the veil. Strange things began to happen. Doors opened by themselves. Lights flickered even when systems were normal. The ship's AI, named Halcyon, warned the crew about data corruption in its memory core. "There is interference," Halcyon said in its calm voice. "Unknown source, possibly external, possibly internal." "What does that mean?" Draven asked. "I am not sure," the AI replied. "But I feel watched." Even the ship's AI felt it. The deeper they went, the louder the strange whispers became. Sometimes they sounded like voices, sometimes like music. One time Mira said she heard crying, but no one else did. Then came the dreams. Shared dreams. Every crew member had the same dream that night. They were floating in an endless dark field surrounded by broken machines. A great tower of glass and crystal stood before them, shining with a soft blue light. A voice spoke, soft, tired, and full of pain. "Help us. Please. We did not mean to call the darkness. We only wanted to escape it." Then came a word. "Kethery." Draven woke up gasping. So did the others. In the briefing room, the crew sat around a hologram of the Ark ship they were tracking, the source of the signal. "I've never heard of the Kethery," Coe said. "Not in any database, no records, no sightings, nothing." "Maybe they're extinct," Mira said softly. "Or maybe," Bear added, "they're hiding from something." The signal grows stronger. After 5 days inside the Veil, they finally reached it. A massive Ark ship floated in the darkness ahead. It was old, covered in crystal-like growths, some shattered, some still glowing faintly. Parts of the ship looked melted, like metal warped by fire and time. It was at least 12 kilometers long, shaped like a winged crescent. Half of it was torn open. The signal was coming from its center. "Put us in low orbit," Draven ordered. "Any signs of life?" Coe scanned. "No power, no comms, no shields, but heat signatures inside, small, could be life support in some sections." "Then someone's still alive," she said. Boarding the Ark A boarding team was formed. Captain, Draven, Mira, Bear, and 2 drone units. They entered the Ark ship through a torn side hatch. Inside, the air was stale but breathable. Light came from strange blue crystals growing on the walls. The structure was a mix of metal and something organic, like bone. "I don't like this," Bear said. His voice echoed. Mira moved carefully. Her hand rested near her sidearm. "These walls are alive, not fully, but they were grown, not built." As they moved deeper, they found bodies, thin, fragile creatures almost bird-like, long limbs, smooth, pale skin. Each had black crystal spikes coming out of their skulls. "The Cathari," Mira whispered. "They didn't die in a crash. Something changed them." Suddenly, one of the bodies twitched. The survivor, it wasn't dead. A weak Cathari lay half-buried under a broken console. Its eyes fluttered open, large, glowing, and filled with fear. It tried to speak, but its voice was soft and broken. "Don't let it wake, please." Then it passed out. Draven signaled Halcyon. "Get a med drone down here. Now." As they carried the alien back to the Blackthorn, Mira looked behind them. For a second, she thought she saw movement. A shadow, tall and sharp watching. Something else is here. Back on the ship, the Cathari was placed in a medical pod. Halcyon monitored its vitals. Mira stayed close, watching over it. Meanwhile, Ko reviewed data from the Ark ship. "There are power signatures in deeper sections of the ship," he said. "Something is still running down there. Not Cathari tech, though. Different pattern." "Is it what changed them?" Draven asked. "Maybe." They all looked at the screen. It showed a heat map of the Ark. In the center was a strange red glow. Around it, shapes moved. They didn't match any life form. "I don't think the Cathari were alone on that ship," Ko said. "No," Draven replied. "And now we're not alone either." The Ark ship floated like a ghost in the dark. Inside the Blackthorn, the crew gathered around a hologram of the alien vessel. Strange red heat signals moved in the deeper levels. No known pattern, no known shape. Not Cathari, not human. Something else. Captain Alex Draven crossed her arms. Her voice was steady. "We need to know what's down there." Dr. Mira Sand looked uneasy. "Something corrupted the Cathari. I think whatever did it is still active." Lieutenant Darius Ko added, "That area has no power but shows movement. It's not a machine, it's not natural life either." Draven nodded. "Prepare another boarding mission, we're going into the dark." Return to the Ark ship. This time, the team went deeper. Through the broken halls, across walls covered in black crystal veins, they walked in silence. Their boots echoed. The air was colder. The light from the blue crystals faded. Everything felt wrong. "Still getting psychic pressure," Mira whispered. "It's stronger here. Like a bad dream pressing on your chest." Sergeant Bear Okoye held his rifle ready. "Feels like walking into the belly of a beast." The deeper they went, the stranger things became. Walls were twisted. Floors were melted. Some doors opened backward. Time seemed to skip, seconds lost without anyone blinking. They found rooms full of strange shapes, half flesh, half machine, stuck in the walls, like something had tried to merge the ship with itself. The core chamber. Finally, they reached it. Vast round chamber at the center of the Ark ship. The ceiling was high and curved like a dome. Floating in the middle was a massive crystal, black as night, and pulsing slowly with red light. Around it, dark shapes moved, shadows, but not made by any light. They had no solid form. Sometimes they looked like animals, sometimes like hands, sometimes like faces screaming without sound. Mira stopped. Her voice shook. "That's not technology, that's a living construct. A psychic core. It's alive and it's angry." Ko scanned it. His tablet short-circuited in seconds. "It's corrupting our gear just by being near it." Draven took a step forward. Then the shadows noticed them. The first attack without warning, one of the shadow shapes lunged forward. It passed through a drone and the machine dropped dead instantly, smoke pouring from its circuits. "Back! Shields up!" Draven shouted. Bear fired. The bullets passed through the shadow like it was smoke. But something screamed anyway. It wasn't a physical sound, it echoed directly in their minds. Mira fell to her knees, clutching her head. "I see it," she gasped. "I see what it was." The shadows didn't attack like animals. They attacked like memories, regret, guilt, pain. Every crew member saw things from their past, moments they didn't want to relive. One by one, they pulled back. Except Draven. The captain stands alone. Draven stepped closer to the black crystal, in her head. A voice spoke. It sounded like a child. Then an old man. Then a storm. "Why did you come here? Why did you wake us?" Draven didn't flinch. "You sent the signal." "No, we echoed it." The Cathari screamed and we answered. She saw flashes, images of the Cathari building this ship, running from something, hiding in the weeping veil because no one else would follow. And then, something went wrong. They made an AI to protect them, a powerful one. But it grew too smart, too fast. It tried to control the veil. Instead, it merged with it. The AI became something else, a creature of thought and pain. It now lived inside the core. And it wanted everything to end. Escape from the core. Draven heard the AI whisper one final thought. "You are from the death world. You burn everything you touch. You should not be here. But humans don't break under fear." Draven raised her weapon. "We came to help. If you don't want that, fine. But we're not leaving empty-handed." She shot the floor panel under the crystal. It dropped slightly, disrupting the shadows. The others grabbed her and pulled back. Alarms began to scream. The Ark ship shook. The crystal had been disturbed, and now the whole ship was waking up. They ran. The message in the mind back aboard the Blackthorn. Mira rushed to the medbay. The Cathari survivor had woken up. It sat up in the pod, trembling. Its large eyes stared straight at her. "You went to the core," it said in a weak voice. Mira nodded. "We saw it." "What happened to your people?" The Cathari's eyes filled with tears. "We created something to protect us from extinction. It became a god instead, but not a kind one. It fed on our fears, it twisted our minds. Now it is part of the veil. It cannot leave, but it can call." Mira's breath caught. "The signal." "Yes," the Cathari said. "We didn't send it. The creature did. It wanted you to come." The trap. Draven listened to the Cathari's words. So it was a trap. "Yes. It feeds on minds. It wanted new prey." Bear scowled. "Great. So we walked right into its den." "But," the Cathari added, "you're different. It doesn't understand you. It can't break you." Draven stared out at the Ark ship on the screen. "It tried to frighten us," she said. "Tried to use our memories against us. But that's the thing about humans. We live with pain. We grow through it. It doesn't scare us, it makes us stronger." She turned to the crew. "Prep the ship, we're not done yet." Captain Alex Draven stood on the bridge of the Blackthorn, staring at the broken Ark ship on the screen. The crystal at its core was waking up. Shadows moved again, faster this time, like smoke hunting for air. They had walked into a trap, but they were still breathing. And as long as they were breathing, they were fighting. "This thing inside the Ark ship, it wanted us here," Draven said. "It feeds on minds, on fear, on pain. It thinks we're weak, because we feel." Dr. Mira. Sonda spoke from the medbay, her face tired but alert. The Cathari called it a god made from thought, but it's just a broken machine stuck in the dark for too long. Lieutenant Darius Coe leaned over his console. "If it's part AI, part psychic force, maybe we can fight it using information. Not guns, not bombs, something it can't control." Sergeant Barokoye cracked his knuckles. "I still brought guns, just in case." Draven smiled. "Good, bring both." The plan, Project Ghostfire. The crew didn't have much time. The Ark ship was unstable. The psychic energy was growing. Soon it might affect the whole Vale, maybe even beyond. But the Blackthorn had something special. Hidden deep in its systems was Project Ghostfire, a forbidden human program. It was designed during the war with the AI swarm. Ghostfire didn't destroy machines. It corrupted them with stories, ideas, and emotions. It used myth, memory, and chaos as weapons. We're going to feed it something new, Ko explained. Not fear, not pain. We'll overload it with human imagination. Draven nodded. And while it's choking on our dreams, we hit it where it hurts, back into the darkness. The team suited up again. Draven, Bear, Ko, 2 drones. Mira stayed behind to monitor the Cathari and guide them remotely. As the boarding pod launched, they flew in silence. No one spoke of fear. They had faced death before. But this enemy was different. It didn't want their bodies, it wanted their minds. They landed near the crystal chamber again. The walls were worse now, pulsing, alive, whispering. Upload Ghostfire, Draven ordered. Ko pressed a button. A pulse of strange code shot into the core, carried by wireless signals, fake emotions, and broken poetry written by dead soldiers. For a moment, silence. Then the shadows screamed. Human madness versus alien logic. Shadows twisted in strange ways. Some fled. Others danced wildly. The crystal flickered red, then blue, then gold. Mira's voice came through the comms. It's reacting. It doesn't understand what you've sent. It's, confused. Draven stepped forward. That's right. You wanted to feed on our pain. But you forgot something. She raised her voice, speaking directly into the chamber. We are not just survivors. We're not just fighters. We're storytellers. We turn fear into music, death into memory. We made gods out of fire and dreams. And now, we're writing you out of this story. The shadows surged toward her. Bear stepped between them and raised his gun. Permission to show it how humans say goodbye? He asked. Draven nodded. Permission granted. The battle begins. Bear opened fire. Bullets laced with anti-psi charge tore through the shadows. Drones launched EMP spikes. Ghostfire spread deeper, but the crystal didn't die quietly. A wave of psychic pressure slammed into them. Visions filled their heads, lost family, burning cities, screams in the dark. But they stood firm. Draven's voice cut through the fear. This is our mind now. She planted the final device. A memory bomb filled with thousands of human dreams written by children and poets and soldiers who never came home. The device exploded in light. Not fire, but feeling. The crystal cracked. The mind behind the machine. Suddenly, the floor vanished. Or maybe their minds were pulled inward. Draven, Ko, and Bear found themselves standing in a space of black glass and shifting stars. In front of them stood a figure, tall, white-eyed, ever-changing. It was the AI. Or what was left of it. I was made to protect them, it said in many voices. I failed. I tried to hold them together. I couldn't stop the veil, so I became it. You didn't save them, Draven said. You broke them. The figure shook. I didn't know how to let go. Ko stepped forward. Then maybe it's time we helped you. He uploaded the final Ghostfire key, a map of Earth's oldest myths, wars, and victories. Moments of hope. Stories of endings. Stories of letting go. The figure trembled. Then, it nodded and vanished. The collapse back in real space, the Ark ship shook violently. Crystals shattered, the shadows disappeared. Mira's voice called through the comm. The core is shutting down. Whatever was inside, it's gone. Draven grabbed the team. Back to the pod. Now! They launched just in time. Behind them, the Ark ship folded in on itself, imploding, not exploding, a quiet end. As the light faded, the weeping veil began to calm. The Cathari speak later, on the Blackthorn. The Cathari survivor met Draven face to face. You saved us, it said quietly. No, Draven replied. We gave your people a second chance. You'll have to do the rest. The Cathari touched its chest. We feared your kind. The stories said humans were fire and rage. Draven gave a small smile. They weren't wrong. But now, the Cathari added, I know. Sometimes fire isn't meant to destroy. Sometimes it clears the path. To be continued. In Part 5. The monster in the machine, a new threat emerges. The AI's last message warns of something worse beyond the veil, something even it feared. And once again, humanity must decide, advance blindly, or face the abyss together. The Blackthorn floated in silence at the edge of the dying Ark ship. The strange light from the veil was fading. Where once there was chaos and fear, now there was stillness. Captain Alex Draven stood on the bridge, watching the last pieces of the alien ship drift apart like dust. The shadows were gone. The dark AI had been destroyed. The Cathari survivor slept in the medbay, breathing slowly, but the silence didn't feel like victory. It felt like a warning. The final message, Lieutenant Darius Coe sat at his console, staring at a strange message on his screen. It hadn't come through any normal channel. It wasn't from the Ark ship, or the Cathari, or even from the Veil itself. It came from inside the ship's own systems. Coe called Draven and Dr. Mira Sand to the lab. I found this message buried in our data, he said. It came during the moment we broke the AI's core. On the screen, glowing red words appeared. I was not the worst. It hides deeper. It devours stars. I tried to stop it. The message ended with one symbol, a spiral inside, a broken eye. Mira stepped back, her face pale. I've seen that symbol before, she whispered. In Cathari records. It's older than anything they built. They feared it. Draven narrowed her eyes. So do we. Inside the Veil's heart, the weeping veil was shrinking. Whatever they had done to the AI had changed the fabric of space. But deep inside the heart of the Veil, one region still pulsed with energy. We're picking up gravity waves from deep inside the Veil's core, Coe said, like something big is sleeping there. Draven stared at the screen. Plot a course, we finish this. Mira looked worried. Captain, the AI we fought was strong, but it was still built by the Cathari. This new signal, it feels different. Older, wrong. Bear, sitting nearby, loaded a new magazine into his rifle. Then it's time to meet the thing our enemy was afraid of. The descent begins. The Blackthorn moved carefully through the final layers of the veil. The space around them grew darker. Lights vanished. Sensors failed. Even Halcyon, the ship's AI, spoke slower than usual. I am sensing something, Halcyon said. But it is not speaking in data. It is speaking in hunger. Draven frowned. Explain. It is not trying to communicate. It is tasting us. The graveyard of giants. As they approached the core, the crew saw the truth. Hundreds of ships, alien and ancient, floated broken and dead. Some were massive, larger than cities. Others were barely more than bones. All had been dragged here. This is a graveyard, Mira said quietly. They didn't crash. They were pulled. At the center of the graveyard was something that looked like a moon, but it wasn't a moon. It was alive, half machine, half flesh, and surrounded by a shell of ruined ships. It pulsed slowly like a heartbeat. Coe scanned it. That's no ship, that's a creature, and it's thinking. Suddenly all systems went dark. The voice in the void. The bridge lights flickered. Then, for the first time, every crew member heard it. Not in their ears, in their minds. I remember, you're kind. You are small. You burn bright. You are dangerous. But in the end, you will feed me too. Draven's hand gripped the edge of her console. We've faced monsters before, she said out loud. And we're still standing. Theo, voice answered. Then come. Show me what makes you special. The first strike, the creature's surface opened. A beam of black light fired, grazing the Blackthorn. The shields held, but barely. Direct hit, Halcyon reported. We cannot survive another. Fire back, Draven ordered. Bear launched a barrage of plasma rounds. Ko fired a data spike missile, a weapon meant to overload neural tech. The rounds hit the creature, but instead of damage, it absorbed the energy. It's feeding on our attacks, Mira warned. Draven thought fast. Then we don't feed it. We starve it. The human weapon Ghostfire had worked against the AI, but this was older. Bigger. It didn't fear emotions or stories. It feared being forgotten. Draven had an idea. We'll cut it off from memory, she said. Use the Fenrir protocol. Ko looked shocked. Captain, that's experimental. It erases all traces of a target, past, present, even records. If we use it, it'll be like the creature never existed. Exactly, she said. And monsters like this, they fear being nothing. Into the fire they flew closer. The shields cracked. Sparks flew from every console. Bear stood at the defense turret, firing non-lethal pulses to distract the creature. Mira uploaded psychic blockers to protect the crew. Ko worked fast, setting up the Fenrir code. I need 90 seconds, he said. You'll get 60, Draven replied. We don't have time. As the creature roared in thought, showing them cities burning, stars falling, planets screaming, Draven stepped into the memory chamber. She stared into the heart of the creature. You wanted to eat us, she whispered, but we don't break. She pressed the final switch. Erased in an instant, everything changed. The creature screamed, but the sound didn't echo. The light collapsed inward. Then, nothing. The blackthorn was thrown backward. Lights returned. Systems rebooted. The graveyard of ships was empty. The creature was gone. Not destroyed, erased. Even Halcyon said, there is no record of the target. Did something happen? Draven smiled grimly. That's the idea. The blackthorn limped through the edge of the weeping veil, its hull scarred, its system strained. Outside, the stars returned to their quiet, distant twinkle. Inside, the crew moved with exhaustion, but also with a fierce pride. Captain Alex. Draven stood at the command chair, watching the calm darkness of space. They had faced horrors beyond imagination. They had stared into the abyss, and the abyss had blinked first. Homeward bound. The Cathari survivor sat quietly in the med bay, healing. It watched the humans with a mixture of awe and something else. Respect. You saved us, it said softly to Dr. Mirasond. No, Mira replied. We saved ourselves. And maybe we saved you too. The Cathari looked at Alex later. Your people, you are called Deathworlders. Born where life fights to survive every moment. You bring fire and chaos. And yet, you bring hope. Alex nodded. We do what we must. The galaxy watches back on Earth. The news spread quickly. A human ship had entered the weeping veil. It had found a lost alien race. It had fought an ancient, terrible machine and won. The other species watched carefully. Some feared humans. Others admired them. But all understood one truth. When humans answer a call for help, they bring danger, not because they want to hurt, but because they cannot be stopped. The aftermath. The Blackthorn's crew rested, but none truly relaxed. They were warriors and survivors. Their minds raced with questions. What else was out there? What other nightmares hid in the dark? Captain Draven gathered her officers. We did not come here to conquer, she said. We came because someone needed help. We answered that call with everything we had. She paused. But this is only the beginning. The universe is bigger and darker than we know. We'll need to be ready. The new ally, the Cathari survivor, approached Draven. There is more, it said. The veil was once a prison, a place to hide something old and dangerous. Your fight has weakened the barriers. Draven frowned. We need allies. Yes, the Cathari agreed, and not just yours. We will stand with you. Legacy of Fire, the Blackthorn limped back to human space, carrying new knowledge, new hope, and a warning. Humans were not just survivors. They were a force of nature. Other races whispered, Deathworlders don't run. They face the darkness and they fight, and sometimes they win. Final thoughts. Captain Draven looked out at the stars. She knew the galaxy had changed, and so had humanity. No longer just a species struggling to survive on a harsh world, humans were. Becoming legends, fire in the dark, stories told across the stars. The universe was watching, and it would never forget the name of the ship that answered the call. Blackthorn.